Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. Been busy again, but anybody wanting to take any Tylenol right now? Did you see how strongly Trump came down on Tylenol? Oh my gosh. How many lawsuits do you think are coming from that one? I mean, unbelievable. Now, don't get me wrong. I've never liked Tylenol. I've always thought it was a farce. I've always thought it was a drug that just didn't work. I mean, I've taken it. I know some people swear by it, and if it works for you, no problem. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just telling you from my perspective, it has never worked for me. It doesn't fix any headaches. It doesn't fix any pain. It doesn't fix any fever, as far as I'm concerned. I know people take it for fever primarily, or a lot of times that's what they take it for. But anyway, for me, it just doesn't do anything. It's like drinking water. It doesn't do anything. But apparently, there's a lot of studies out and that say, and I think that big pharmaceutical has, kept them under wraps. Apparently, they're naming names now. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just telling you that's what yesterday in that press conference when he talked about autism. I mean, he couldn't have been more clear. How do you think he feels about Tylenol? Oh my gosh, he just ranted on it. Like, do not take it. Do not take it if you're pregnant. Do not give it to a small child. And all. Whether it's true or it's not true, I don't have any idea. I just hope they get to the bottom of the autism thing, because I think that's a horrible thing. And it has increased, exponentially over the last several years. And I would like to see that get fixed, regardless how they fix it. But I just can't imagine coming out that strong about Tylenol if he didn't have something to back it up. Because you're just opening up for lawsuits. I mean, it's just in the courts the next 5 minutes. You're going to be in 5 minutes. You're headed to the court. Oh my gosh! And he's just about that on fire today on the United Nations thing. Holy mackerel! He's naming names in there too. I don't like to get political. That's not what this is about. It's just that it's just amazing how blunt he can be, and he makes no apologies. Anyway, I got a little project that's underfoot today, and but before I show you that, I'll show you something that was just totally stupid, just totally dumb. The dumbest thing I've ever done. No, it's not the dumbest thing I've ever done. Dumbest thing I ever done was paint those stupid windows black. But this is maybe the second dumbest thing I've done. Falling under the category of, boy, that was really dumb. There's got to be, it doesn't look like it, I know, but I guarantee you there's at least 300 bullets in there. It's unbelievable how many bullets are in there. I started cleaning these because I'm going to melt them down eventually. And I found all these. I shouldn't say I found them all, but I found 90% of these or more than that with my metal detector. Some of these little shiny ones that are in there, the boys shot the 22, and that's where the little shiny ones came from. But anyway, other than those, I found them all with the metal detector, and I guarantee you there's well over 300 of them in there. When you spread them out, you'll firmly believe it. But when you shake them up like this, they settle in real tight. That's heavy. That's really heavy brass. Of course, that bowl's heavy too, but there's a lot of brass there. It took me way longer than I ever thought it would to clean all those. Like I said, under the category of, that was really dumb. Yeah, that took a long time to clean those suckers. I mean, I bet I spent close to 2 hours on that. They were just full of mud. All of them were full of mud. And you might say, well, why did you even bother? Why would you do that? Well, I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but I decided I want to melt those down and make something out of it. I've got that forge that might as well use it for something, might as well melt that brass down. And I, pour it into a bar or something and then make something on the metal lathe. And then I can say I made that out of bullets that I found on my farm. I don't know, it's really stupid. I don't know why I do what I do. It's just, I hate to waste them. I hate to throw them away. And, to take them to a recycler, it's just not worth it. So, to me, just melt them down and make something out of it. It's still dumb, though. And here's what's underfoot today. And I mean, this literally, this is underfoot. Well, my friends, I've got a different project today. Take a look at this. And you'll see what it is. Can you see how messed up the sole of that boot is? Yeah, that got melted. So what could have melted my boot, you might ask? Well, I'm gonna show you. See that tractor right there? It's a problem. As soon as I get the lights on, I'll show you why it's a problem. You see this exhaust system here that goes right there? Well, it goes under here, and guess what? It's been crushed, and it's up against this plate. You see this stuff right there? That's my melted boot. All that right there, I mean, it looks like dirt, but it's melted. It's my melted boot. But this muffler got crushed up there somehow. I don't know. Everything just seems to always happen around here. It's hard to explain why these things happen, but they seem to all the time. So I'm going to try to take all that apart and see if I can't figure out a way to fix that, where it's not rubbing that step there. Well, I don't know. This is probably a bad idea taking this apart because I'm going to screw up the gasket here. I don't know of any other way to fix this though without taking it off so I can unbend it all. So I guess we'll just take our risks. Hopefully this will undo this. I don't know if it will or not. Yeah, I don't know if it'll undo this or not. Yep, it did. I'm amazed. This is the little impact wrench. This is not the big one. Well, let's see if I can get it off with a wrench. Yeah, I got it broke loose with the wrench. I doubt it'll... Yeah, it will let me put the socket on there. Can't even get a regular wrench on this one back here, of course. It's way back there. And this hard line is in the way. And this is not a rubber hose, that's hard also. And I can't get in from this side. I can't think of any way to get that off without just taking everything apart. So I guess that's what I'll have to do. So I'm gonna have to undo this carburetor part here, which, yeah, pain in the neck really. It's not horrible, it's just not easy. Could be a lot harder, I guess, but doggone, why? So little clearance on all this stuff that you can't get it in or out. Like there's just no room. There we go. Finally. All right, now maybe I can get to it now with the socket, because I don't think I can get to it with a wrench even still. And yes, it came loose. And yes, it came out. And the gasket is fairly well intact for the moment. Wow, that was a lot easier than I expected. The back end just slid out. Can you see how bad it's dented up there? Oh my goodness. So, can I even straighten any of that? Who knows? Let's take it to the bench. Well, I guess the first thing I'm going to try here is I've got this in the vise, and this thing is bent up, and I doubt I can straighten it, but I'm going to see if I can straighten it a little bit. Nah, it's not going to, I don't think. Not without crushing it all to pieces. So, really we just need a new one, that's what we need. But I don't have a new one. And I'm going to make this one work until we get a new one at least. Yeah, this thing just needs to be replaced. It's got holes all through it. So, it's bad anyway, but maybe I can get it back on there and make it work for now. Well, I got enough clearance here where the back under here now, I don't think you can see what I'm pointing at, but back under here now, I've got about a hand width clearance, which is better than touching. And let's see if I can get the bolts started back in this. I think we really do need a whole new exhaust and a new gasket too, probably, but I'm just going to see if I can make this happen for now. I can't get into that one. I think I'm going to get a regular socket wrench and tighten it up by hand rather than using the torque thing. Okay, I think we're done. Well, that didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought it was going to be. Except for the fact that I need a whole new muffler. So I'll have to get online and get one of them ordered, I guess. At least that ought to keep it from melting my shoes off while I'm using it. Did you ever hear it's not easy being me?
It's never easy being me. Anyway, that's temporarily fixed, and I've already ordered. I mean, it's only another $100. I mean, what's another $100? It's like it's $100 every day for something. I mean, like every single day for something, and sometimes more than that, but for sure $100 every day. Anyway, there's a muffler on its way here, so when that gets here, I'll put that on. At least it's easy to put on and off. It's not real difficult. And yeah, I don't know. Let's go to the comments and see what's going on. Eddie Turner was the first one in today, and David Tharp is there. He says, I entered a spelling bee last week. I loosed. Oh, I'm sorry that you loosed. Next time maybe you'll win. Let's see. Ronald Todd, good afternoon from the West Banks of New Jersey. Looking for question marks primarily. David Tharp, a chicken asked the farmer, do you know why I crossed the road? The farmer ran away screaming, arg, a talking chicken. Yeah, you can make a lot of money with a talking chicken. Let's see. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. Jim Cunningham there looks like he's got something of interest. He has no question marks, but he says, I got to attend the Walnut Valley flat picking competition last week, and the bluegrass was everywhere. I sure looked for a Rosa guitar, but no luck there. No, there's not that many of them out there, and you unlikely would find it. Let's see. Gino Hitch. Hi, Jerry and friends. Just made it home in time. Glad to be here. Cool. Ben Boyd says, hey, everybody. And this Dottie's praying for some more folks there. After we went live, David Tharp says, this morning for breakfast, I tried to have a balanced diet, so I had a cookie in each hand. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Bohorn says, hey, gang, rain shower here in Ruston, Louisiana. Well, it's rained here today, too, for a change. Enough that it actually, was running down the sides of the driveway, which is amazing because we haven't had enough to even make a puddle. It rained a good amount. I don't know if it's still raining out there or not. I can't tell by looking, but I don't think it rained much more than an inch by the time I came in. Maybe an inch. That would be good, though, because we haven't had anything for quite a long time. I mean, just enough to dampen the surface is all we've gotten for the last several months. Let's see. Bert Pichon says, hi, Jerry. Would you ask the fiddler if he would play Old Man Martin Thursday? Yeah, if I can remember that, I'll have him play your Martin guitar. Yeah, he's a good guitar player too. I wanted to have Leon play it last show, and then I forgot. I thoroughly was going to, in fact, I even mentioned it to Leon before we started, and then I said, I'd like to have you play that, and he never brought it up, and I forgot about it. And anyway, there you go. Let's see. Stewson says, you believe this Trump nonsense? Well, I don't believe the nonsense. He's definitely not perfect, but dang gum, the economy is doing pretty good. The stock market's at an all-time high. He's freed 70-some hostages. He stopped 7 wars. I'll call that nonsense. Whatever you want to think. If you can't see the good in it, all I can see is you're just seeing the bad in it, and therefore that would mean that you're probably an extremist. You ought to be able to see the good and the bad on either one of them. Like I said, I voted for him begrudgingly this time. I really did, because it was the only choice we had. And now I'm kind of glad I voted for him, because he's doing way better in this term, in my opinion, than he did in the first term. At least in my opinion. Ronald Todd, I still wish he'd shut his mouth on, bragging on himself so much and on putting other people down. I wish he'd cut that out. But other than that, I like what he's doing. Let's see. Ronald Todd, the issue with Tylenol is why haven't any of the other previous administrations made attempts to do anything about the health issues? It took Trump to do it. Well, yeah, to me, again, I don't want to make it political. To me, there's obviously some kind of health issue in the country. This autism thing, like Mike Morgan, the YouTuber Mike Morgan, his son got the vaccinations, and after the vaccinations, he went nonverbal and extreme autism, whatever you want to call it, and there's got to be something to it. I mean, there's got to be something to it, whether it's, and they're working on the vaccinations too. The idea behind the vaccinations sounds like if you don't give them in such a big quantity, in other words, if you don't mix all of them together at one time, there's way less chance of being a problem. In other words, if you get the vaccinations in 4 parts rather than 1 part, it seems to be like a non-issue. So they're also doing studies on that. And so to me, it can't be a bad thing to be working on that and trying to figure out what's causing it. Find the bad in it if you want to. Because that won't hurt my feelings at all. If that's the way you have to see everything, find the bad in it. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Bill Mumbo, could you not have used a rock tumbler to clean them? Well, yeah, if I had one, I guess. I don't have one. Number 2, they were, caked full of dirt. I tried washing them and brushing them around and, in a big tub and with soap and water, and that didn't do anything. I mean, well, it did some. I mean, it turned the water pretty dark, but it took a wire to poke in almost all of them to get the dirt out. They were full of dirt. And yeah, I really did think about just melting them down, not worrying about it at all, because the impurities will rise to the surface. But this forge I have is not the top end forge of the world. It's a pretty low end forge, and with all that extra mass in there, it's a lot harder to heat that up. So if you get those shells hollow, they'll melt a lot easier. So that's why I did what I did, and like I said, it's dumb. I know that. Just one of them deals. Something I just wanted to do. Bill Mumbo, could you? Rock Tumbler. Yeah. Let's see. Dottie. She's talking to Lester there. See, Bill Webb, good afternoon. Howdy. David Tharp, the doctor said your trouble is your left brain isn't right. Besides, there's nothing left in your right brain. I'd have to read that one 2 or 3 more times to get that right. Let's see. Bruce Ducker and Lester Cunningham. And looking for, Hugh O'Connor says, if it was just mud, all you need to do is wash them in soapy water. Well, like I said, I'd tried that. And then, melt the impurities will rise to the surface. Well, I know that too. But the problem is doing that, it's, it just, in that particular little forge, to me, I'm cutting my loss. I'm trying to give myself the best chance of success. And brass is a lot harder to melt than aluminum. The forge will melt aluminum, and it says it will do brass. But brass takes a lot more heat than aluminum does. So I'm just trying to give my best chance for success whenever I get around to doing that. And I'm not planning to do it right away or anything. It's just that it was a rainy morning, and I thought, well, why not do that? So I did. Ronald Todd, what in the God's name did Sue run over to bend the muffler like that? Looks like she was mowing grass. Yeah, well, I don't even know. I'm assuming she had something to do with it, but I don't know. It could have happened while I was driving it. You never know. I didn't know. I didn't notice it while I was driving it, but you run over something and it flips up like that, and it could push the muffler up. I mean, it could be something simple like that, or if you straddle a big rock, which there are some big rocks around here. I don't remember straddling a big rock, but somebody else could have done that. Let's see. Mike Saba, Jerry, that muffler was not designed very well. It should go up through the hood so it doesn't start your field on fire, melt the boot. Yeah, well, lots of tractors have them go through the hood, and lots of tractors have them go down underneath. So, I mean, it just depends on the tractor design. In fact, my Ford 4000, it goes down also. The John Deere goes up. So, it just depends on the tractor designer. In fact, I had never really driven one where it went up until we got the John Deere. So I know what you're saying, but we've never had a field fire from a muffler, so I don't know. I know that's the common thought, though. I definitely know that that's what people talk about, is that it could catch a field on fire, but I've never seen that happen. And I'll tell you what, we got some pretty dry fields. You would think it would have happened by now, as much as we've used it. Let's see, David Tharp, what kind of pants does a psychic wear? Just a pair of normal pants. Yeah, I guess you're right. Spike Moto, did I understand you to say it was not a good idea to paint the windows black? Well, it was the dumbest thing I ever did. I wish I would have just left them white, because it was so much work and took so much time. And painting plastic is not a good idea. I mean, just isn't a good idea. So, I mean, I like the look of it, don't get me wrong, but but the process, the pain in the neck is the reason it was dumb. GMP Old Marine Shop. Hi, Jerry. I have a ½ acre and a ranch house with detached garage, and I also have never-ending projects too. I'm retired. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. If you've got ground and buildings and equipment and stuff, there's a lot to do. There's just a lot to do. Plus, with all the animals on top. On top of that. There's always something. Pontius Anderson says, I think you are right, sir. Well, thank you. I don't know what I'm right about, but I guess that's better than left. Let's see. Bill Mumbo, we could do with a Trump in Britain. Yeah, I tell you, like I said, everybody's got good qualities and bad qualities. He's got just as many bad qualities as he's got good. But one thing is, he does understand what's going on. And he ain't afraid to name names. That's one thing for sure. Whew, he is. If you haven't seen the UN thing, he's in front of the UN, and China's watching, and he's telling China just what is. and the same way with Russia. Russia's there, and he's telling them just what he thinks. And and the European Union's there, and he's telling them what he thinks about that. They're buying Russian oil, and they're buying this and that, and yet they're trying to stop the war between Ukraine and Russia, yet they're supporting Russia. What's up with that? And he just flat tells them like that. Well, whether you like Trump or not, I don't give a rat's rear end. But I will say that he's saying what I would say if I was there. I guarantee I'd call him out on it. I mean, stupid is as stupid does, man. And they're just being stupid on some of the things they're doing. He's calling them out now. If you haven't seen that, you ought to watch it. Whether you like him or not, you ought to watch it. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I mean, and he's talking about stopping the wars. Well, he's talking in front of those countries where the wars were stopped. So I would say he must be telling the truth. It'd be kind of stupid to stand up there and say that, I stopped the war in Rwanda, whatever it was, with the guy sitting there looking at him, and, he's saying it. You'd think he must be telling the truth on some of that stuff. But I still don't like the way he, if he could just quit bragging on himself and quit just, I don't know. That's what bugs me. And the way he puts people down. If he could just quit those two things, he might be the best president ever. Let's see. Bob Hamby. If was me, I would eliminate the muffler and run a straight pipe and save $1. Yeah, well, you could do that, I guess. But, what's another $100? I mean, it's just every day, man. I'm not kidding you. Let's see. It says, to Woodford just uploaded some interesting repairs on a 1904 Gibson Soundhole mandolin. Cool. Dennis Clark, I'm the extremist. Okay. And you have question marks behind it, so I'm assuming you're thinking, I'm the extremist? Yeah, whatever. If you can't see both sides of something, if you cannot see both sides of something, you're an extremist. That's all there is to it. Believe what you want. You might want to go get some help to find out about that, because there's some truth to what I'm saying. GNP Old Marine Shop. Those windows, do the panes come apart some like Stanley doors? No, they don't. Not on the windows anyway. They're junk windows. They're just cheap windows. They're just there to fill out the look. David Tharp, common sense is like deodorant. The people who need it most never use it. That's for sure darn true. It's not being political, but I only watch Fox News or Bill O'Reilly. Well, yeah, I don't know. I didn't used to be that way, but I am leaning more towards Fox now than I used to. I used to not like Fox either because I thought it was pretty much one side, but the other networks are so much one side too. And you don't know who to believe on anything anymore. And so I try to get my facts from a lot of different sources. And all I know is I think we're better off than we were. And I'm not saying that we're in great shape, but I think we're headed in the right direction. I mean, getting rid of all the illegal aliens, that was a silly, stupid thing. Fixing the criminals, stopping the drug warlords. I don't see any negatives. I mean, if you do, fine, just feel free to see negatives. That's all I can tell you. I don't see any negatives. Let's see. GMP is $100 today is like $10 years back. Let's say 1970s. Yeah, well, I don't even think you have to go that far back. It's tough. I don't see how young people these days get started do anything. It's crazy the cost of everything. Of all the things that I think this administration has done that I do like the most, though, well, I mean, there's several, but one of the things is getting rid of the dang waste, like in Social Security and stuff. They're just I've said that's my whole life. I mean, I've always said if we just got rid of the government waste and all, the whole country would be way better off. And I don't think they're getting rid of all of it, but they sure have put a dent in some of it. That's for darn sure. And the other thing I really like about this administration is they've gotten the dang men out of the women's sports. Now, that is the stupidest blankety blank thing I've ever seen in my whole life, was allowing men to compete against women in a woman's sport. A woman, just like a man, they work for years and years and years to get to that elite spot in their sport, and then you let a man come in and dominate them. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I'm telling you right now, that one there, you can't justify that one. And if you think you can, then you definitely are an extremist. That's ridiculous. Absolutely, stupidly ridiculous. You want to know how I feel about it? There you go. And I think it hits home with me most because I was at that Olympic level with the archery. And I know how hard I worked to get to that level. And I know how hard those other, men and women, it doesn't matter which side you're on, I know how hard they work to get to that elite level. And then to let somebody just come in and snatch it away from them like they don't even matter, that ain't right. That ain't right at all. Let's see. Dennis Clark, you think, understand that Europe depends on Soviet oil, so to fix that you need to supply them at less cost, but that is not possible. Well, I'm not saying I have all the answers or anything, but it does make sense. I mean, if you're trying to get a war stopped between your neighbors and, your support, on one end, you're giving them sanctions. On the other end, you're buying his oil, which is what funding the war. It just makes no sense. Makes no sense. Ben Boyd, if the nut is the problem, do you recommend fixing a low guitar string by filing the nut slot for the string or replacing the entire nut? Filling, I guess, not filing. Well, I don't recommend filling the nut slots normally. But if it's your own guitar and you want to fill it, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's doable. To me, it's like a temporary fix. That's why, as a professional, I would never do that. I would never fill it and give it back to somebody. Now, I say that. That's not true because I have done it. But you have to understand the whole picture. If somebody doesn't have any money and I don't want to spend 2 hours making a new nut, and they certainly can't pay for it. Well, then, yeah, that might be the situation where filling it makes the sense. But in general, when I'm doing a quality setup and like on a high dollar instrument, no, I'm not going to fill it. But if it's my own instrument and I want to fill it, I'll fill it. I mean, it's not a big deal. So I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I get it. But it's okay if you want to fill it. If it's your own instrument, feel free. But I would never do it on a professional job that somebody's paying me to do. I don't know if that made any sense at all. Ronald, Jerry, after hearing you, I must be an extremist too because I can't agree on anything the right is doing. Well, see, yeah, I can see some of their points. I mean, you got to be able to see both sides. Now, a lot of this stuff is just ridiculous. I mean, just completely ridiculous. Like the men in the women's sports. That's just ridiculous. Sorry, it just is. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense at all. Some things, like, some of the, I don't know, I can't even think of anything specific, but, some of the welfare type issues, I can see some of those things, maybe even some of the energy things, I can sort of see some of it. But you can take anything like that to an extreme, which is what a lot of them are doing. They take like the energy thing to an extreme, for instance. Stevenson said, he's an embarrassment to the USA. There's never been a bigger imbecile in the... well, I would say that you're not looking around. If you can only see the negative in it, if you can't see the positive, stopping the wars, stopping people from getting killed. Let me just see here. He stopped 7 wars, 2 of which raged on for more than 30 years. Through tariffs, he has brought back billions and billions of dollars, and investments and companies are now building in the United States and creating jobs. Can you not see any positive in that at all? I would say you are the problem, not him. That's what I would say. That's just those are the accomplishments right there, all of those. Each one of those lines is a different accomplishment. If you can't come up with a few positive things, I would say, buddy, you are the problem, not him. Dennis Clark, tariffs is a negative? ? I don't see tariffs as negative at all. I see them as totally positive. I think that was the smartest thing he ever did because he has the ability to control lots of things. He stopped wars with those tariffs. He put such high tariffs on them that they had to stop the war or, to get the tariffs reduced. That's how he stopped a couple of them. And that was proven. I mean, that's not just me talking. It's been proven. David Tharp, trying to reason with an idiot is like writing with broken pencil. There's no point to it. That part I agree with too. Yeah, that's what, he says, Ronald says tariffs are checks and balances. That's exactly what they are. If you, you can fold over on anything, which is what we've been doing for years, and just letting everybody walk on us. But when you finally stand up and say, these are what we're doing and why we're doing it. And if you want to play, then come to the United States, build your factory here, and we'll play, and they are doing it. So to me, makes sense. Eddie, hi, Jerry and friends. I think it's a good idea to blow up a picture of the wheelhouse to make a picture to hang on the wall. Well, I wish you could see, I can't show it to you, I don't think. I don't know, this probably be stupid. I'm going to try it. Uh-oh. Of course, the camera cord is too short. Can you see my screen here? All right, so let me shrink this down. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm probably too close to it. But anyway, that's my screen. So sorry about that. That's my screensaver now. It's a picture of the water wheel house. So yeah, I think we're gonna do more with that as time goes on. We'll put some pictures out there. All right, well, that's enough politic talk for today. I know that I don't like to get political about it. I don't see a lot of these things as political. To me, I see them as common sense things. I mean, like the men and women's sports, to me, that I don't call that political. I call that stupid. You can call it what you want to, but I call it stupid. And so, you know, and there's a lot of things like that in the world these days that people make them political, but they're just black and white, like the autism thing. We need to solve it. You can call it political if you want to, but we need to solve it. You know, we need to fix it. And somebody's trying to fix it, and you're trying to find the bad in that. Well, I'm sorry, but there ain't no bad in that. Fix it. So just jump all over it if you want to. Like I said, find the negative in it and knock yourself out. I'm all happy for you that you've ruined, that you're so miserable that you can't see the positive in something. I'm just happy for you if that's the way you want to live your life. I don't want to live my life that way. Let's see, a bunch of comments popped up. I'm going to try to get through them real quick, and then we're going to call this done. Jerry and friends, I think it's a good idea to blow. Okay, I got that one. Paul Akers, isn't tariffs taxes? Why have taxes? Hurts me to pay taxes. Well, I would say you don't understand the whole full policy of tariffs if that's what you're thinking, if you think it's a negative. But tariffs have the ability to control all kinds of things, and as he's been doing. And if you read between the lines, you know, the tariff thing has worked out great. It's worked out really, really good. So to me, that's just been a great thing. Ronald Todd, nice chat today. David with our beautiful picture. Thank you. Great crossword puzzle. Okay, I don't know what that one means. Bill Mumbo, ooh, I'm getting seasick because I was moving the camera around. Desktop background, not screensaver. Yeah, well, that's true. It is all right. Everybody has to correct you to the nth degree. You know what I mean. A couple of beers in my Tylenol. I don't do the beer thing. Your microphone is very sensitive and popping. So sorry about that. I probably have it turned up a little more. Everybody keeps telling me that it's never loud enough, so I got it turned up a little bit more. Let's see. All right, guys, I'm going to let that be it. Pontus says, well said, common sense goes a long way. Yeah, to me, that's it. That's the bottom line. If you've not learned anything from my channel ever, the one thing you would have had to learn is that I approach everything, I don't care what it is, with common sense. You look at it and you go, does that make sense? If it don't make sense, I don't do it. You know, same fixing an instrument. You just look at it and go, well, does it make sense to, glue this baby bed rail up inside of it? Does it make sense to pour a whole gallon of glue inside the guitar and shake it around? Does that make sense? No. So therefore, I look at everything with just common sense. And that's what the whole country needs to do, and that's where we're finally getting back to, it looks like to me. So I'm all happy about that part of it. Let's see. Arnold Todd, water wheel picture would be great crossword puzzle. Okay, that's what you mean. Okay, yeah, that I do think it would be a great crossword. Well, crossword puzzle, you just mean puzzle, don't you? Not a crossword puzzle? That's what's got me confused. Have a great evening. Eddie says, Jerry and friends, Jerry, you have to read my question to get the full effect. Okay, I'm completely confused. We will see you tomorrow with something else. Those of you who have common sense, we'll see you back here tomorrow.